Here today working with Manvir, a.k.a. Simply Dhol, and Aaron Sahota from Toronto. Just a little quick background about myself. I've been playing Dhol for quite some time now, and I've been giving lessons to both Manvir and Aaron. More recently, I've been giving lessons to Aaron via Skype, and today we will be reviewing some fundamentals, some Bhangra style Dhol. That's kind of my area. That's what I enjoy playing. That's the style I like. Very raw, very traditional, very folk. And specifically, we're going to work on how to play Dhol in Bhangra when we're transitioning from Jal into the Duggan or Bhangra rhythm, because it's so commonly played throughout a Bhangra routine, and because the Dhol is the one doing all the work in terms of rhythm, we're leading the dancers, we're leading the feet. It's very important that when transitioning from any rhythm to the next, that what happens in between the Toda is very prominent, and because that's our indication to start, end, or change an action. So that's what we're going to be working today with Manvir and Aaron. Started. I'm just gonna really quick just use a very simple Toda. We can just go ahead and play dage na na da from Jal into Bhangra itself. Okay, so I guess let's hear each one of you play that. Maybe Manvir, start it off. So you play Jal.
Okay. Do you want to start off with the Toda?
Yeah, of course. Always start with the Toda. Transition with the Toda. Go into the next rhythm, and then end that rhythm with another Toda. And try to keep the Toda the same. Yep, that works. Yep, that's good.
Okay. And then
Yep.
you want to go to Bhangra?
Let's go into that.
My turn, right?
Okay, good. So what I'm really looking for is how would you play? You wanted to go into Bhangra next, okay? So you played Jal. I want to hear how you transition from Jal into Bhangra. The emphasis is on having two rhythms. How are they played together? How do we go from one rhythm to the next rhythm?
Do you want a specific like how many counts of Jal before you go into Bhangra?
You can do 16 count of each or 8 count. Doesn't really matter. You can freestyle it. Again, what I'm looking for is how do we go from one rhythm to another rhythm? Because there's two things, right? One is we play in la, which is more commonly like when you're playing in like Geet Sangeet or like a singer, right? Where we have to be in constant rhythm. That's sometimes the case in Bhangra. Definitely depending on the action, but sometimes we go from a very fast rhythm into a very slow rhythm, right? So how do you blend the two together so it doesn't sound awkward or make it awkward for the dancers, So there is a progression from one rhythm to another rhythm. I want to see what is that bridge that builds the two rhythms together, as per your understanding, how do we make that change? So I want to hear two rhythms, play the Toda in between, and then we'll take it from there.
Okay. Are you okay with us using different Toda, or do you want us to keep the Toda the same?
Yeah, I suggested one. I don't really care which one you use, provided you understand the objective. I mean, we want to two rhythms, blend them together. Let's hear it out. Okay, good. That's definitely one good example of transitioning. I think you played more in the same tempo, both rhythms, which is definitely good. I'll show you guys some variation. I think Aaron, let's hear you now. Now you get the idea, right, Aaron, of how we want to do this?
Yeah. So.
Okay, good. Very good. Yeah. So I think you both played two different variation of transition or the torta. I think Aaron's is more realistic based on what I initially said because the emphasis is how to play Bhangra. When we play da 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 da, right? That's kind of elongated, and the dancer may or may not know when the transition is happening, right? Where I think Aaron played da na da na da na, right? That's a very like standard and typical Bhangra Tora, and it's very clear. It's to the point. It's very direct. It's given the instruction. Okay, Tora came, change. So I think Aaron's whatever Aaron just played was probably a better example for a Bhangra team or a Bhangra routine to play that. Now, there's another way we can have the transition much shorter, and it happens all the time in Bhangra in various segments of it, whether it's in the beginning during a prop, a kunda shikka segment, or whether it's happening in another segment later on in the dance, maybe luddi or jugni action. So I'm just going to kind of show you guys that, and then I want you guys to play that back to me. It's very simple, okay? So again, we'll start with Jal, and then we'll go into Bhangra, okay? So Jal. For me, that transition was a simple just da, that's all it was. And that was, again, it's really dependent on what the Bhangra steps are, what the actions are, but it's another way to transition between the two rhythms. So what I just played in the same count and in the same tempo, or you can mix and match the tempo. Doesn't really matter. Show me another way of how we can transition from one rhythm to the other, and maybe to make it different this time. Maybe start with Bhangra this time. Start with Dugan instead of starting with Jal. So Manvir, you want to go first? Good. Yeah, that's definitely I think a lot better than what you played before. That was good. Aaron, let's hear you play. Nice, good, good. So that was just playing just da. Then you can play da gana, right? Da na 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 da na da na 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 da gana da, right? And go into the next da would be the follow up of dugan. That's another way. We're playing jal, right? My ustad, Lal Singh always really likes using Gana because Gana is, you can hear it better than Da. And, and obviously because the daga is isolated and if you keep the daga heavy, then it really gives an indication to the dancers that, hey, there's a change. This is where the change is. There are two different types of Bhangra teams. One that always do their dance on the count, and then there's ones that do it strictly to the Dhol. So the Dhol is giving the pure direction. When the Toda hits, that's when the change of the action is, right? So it's literally they're waiting on the Dhol. They're waiting for the rhythm. And when you do that, you really have to make sure whatever Toda you play is very clear. There should be no gray area, So, but more, if you two are putting together a routine, I would always advise to do everything on count. It's a better option. I think it's a safer option. God forbid you made a mistake. At least the dancers can still continue. It's easier for one person to get back in rhythm with 8 dancers versus 8 individual dancers come back into rhythm with one drummer. Hopefully that makes some sense. Next, with that, that's kind of one piece of the lesson I wanted to touch. The second, again, is because because I kind of want to focus this lesson around how to play well and strong in Bhangra. So we want to cover like another rhythm, which I think both of you guys played in your last jam session or rehearsal, and that was Tamal, right? Tamal, it's a very powerful rhythm. So real quick, I think I want to hear both of your guys' Tamal, okay? So if I say, okay, guys, Manvir and Aaron, I'm going to do Tamal, the action, okay? I want you guys to play. Show me how will you play. We'll start with Manvir first. Okay, good, good. Aaron? Okay, cool. Yeah, definitely. I think you guys have a very good understanding of the rhythm. There's no doubt about that. I think you both played a variation. Both are correct. It wasn't like you played it wrong. One thing, just kind of what I just touched base on the previous lesson about the Tora and the transition. The emphasis was keep the daga heavy, right? Daga and Bhangra is very important. Anytime you ever hear, there's always a reference, line daga tolte, right? I mean, there's a reason for that. You want to make it very prominent when you play tamal. The daga the dancer should be able to feel it in their feet, you know. So don't keep it like loose. So what my suggestion is, let's say you guys, you guys are dancers. I'm gonna play for you, right? First, in my opinion, okay, because we are playing this rhythm catering to the dance, the action, right? Okay, so when you start this rhythm, I think after the toda, you should give a room for the backing. And then the dancer will go, hey, ah, right? Backing happens, da, action starts, right? So from the toda should be very strong. Again, just something how you can enhance the rhythm. Like I said, it's not like you guys played it incorrectly. I think that can make it better. This is just my 2 cents. So try to consider that next time. So I guess the eventual goal, the goal in the end is to have you guys be able to kind of go into a Bhangra rehearsal and be able to play. Aaron plays Dhol very well. He plays independently. He recently came and saw me, Manvir. I don't know if you know about this. We took him to the academy, and I would play. I would play the set, one set, and then I'll be like, okay, Aaron, now it's your turn, right? So it's different because the Tora, when the Tora starts, what leg does it start on? What foot does it start on? Where does it end? Where does the next action pick up from? And these are things you don't actually think about when you're playing, right? But now all of a sudden you have 8 dancers and they're kind of relying on you to play the rhythm correctly. And if you miss the Tora, it does cause confusion, right? So in addition, that's where I think I would like to see both of you guys kind of progress in your Dhol playing. When it comes to freestyling or playing with music, no doubt, I think you guys do a pretty good job at that. But playing, for me, and people will disagree with me or people will be like, that's not true. But for me, playing Dhol and Bhangra is its truest art form. I think this is where these are the roots. And so it's important to know that.